Hello, welcome back to the stream. My name is Angela. I am a front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. How is everybody doing? Um, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Took last weekend off to recuperate from a little bit of a bug. We did a stream last night talking about front end development and frameworks and attitudes towards frameworks, and had a lot of fun. That was a great discussion. So appreciate everybody who joined me for that. Today I want to get back to working on the portfolio website that we started 2 weeks ago. I guess my plan for this weekend is I sort of have a running list of things that I want to take care of this weekend, and I'm behind on all of my administrative duties. My GitHub project planning board I have done a terrible job keeping up with it. I have not written additional user stories. I have not put in additional tasks for myself. So today I'm going to be I'm not going to be looking at it at all because I really need to sit down and get caught up on it. So today I'm going to just make a manual list of things that I want to work on for this weekend. So first and foremost, I want to, let's make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to add a section to the home page. Whoops. Now, I didn't build this out in the mock-up because it's just an idea that I have. I was looking at this part of the site. This right here where we have this image and content area, and then we have this card feature directly beneath that. And I think that there needs to be a plain white section in between that to break those two full width areas up. So what I would actually like to do is put in an iframe of last night's live stream, the front end is hell video. So I'm going to embed this as an iframe and put in a section with the title and the description and a link back to YouTube, but also an iframe so people can just play it right in the browser. Now, iframes are traditionally, they suck up a lot of resources on page load. So I think it's okay to put one iframe or embed from YouTube or Vimeo or something similar on per page. I think it's okay to do it once. I wouldn't recommend doing it more than once because I think it just takes up way too many resources. But I think considering this is a static site, we're not querying a database, it's pretty lean when it comes to code. I'm okay putting this on the home page. So we'll put a plain white section in between these two sections. I'm going to embed the video on the left, and then we'll put the title and description on the right. And I think that'll be a good way to break this up. The second thing we're going to do is that right now, this key responsibilities container is inside of a wrap. So it's being contained inside the it basically it's 1200 pixels meaning a 12 column layout, 1200 pixels, but we have this border around this section. So I was thinking, what is it about? I was looking at this after we built it a couple weekends ago, and I was like, what is it about this that I don't like? Like, put your finger on what it is that I don't like about this, meaning me talking to myself. And I was like, it's that we have this border here and that we don't need an additional container to contain these cards. I also think that my idea to sort of do a faux or simulated masonry layout also just isn't working here. And then the cards themselves are incredibly boring. To just have this white card with text and a border, and yes, the border adds a tiny bit of visual interest, not as much as I thought it would, and the cards also have some shadow. This still isn't really doing it for me, so I have some other ideas. Let's see here, MDN. what is it? MDN first letter. Yeah, so we're going to do first letter and initial letter. We're going to use these two classes together to do this type of effect right here. Oh, you cannot see anything. Angela, stop. I'm so sorry. I know there's a couple people watching. I'm so sorry. Boy, usually somebody tells me I'm doing that. Let's go back. Let's just quickly rewind. This is the section. Lena, hello. You left me a comment on yesterday's video. I haven't had time to go and respond yet. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy to have you. And also, when I'm not sharing or I'm in the way of something, you guys can definitely let me know. You would not be hurting my feelings. So I apologize for that. Luckily, we're only a couple minutes in here. So I'm going to add, yeah, thank you. Thank you. I figured it out eventually, didn't I? I'm going to add a section in between these two sections. So we've got this section here, we've got this section here. I'm going to put a section that is a full width white background. We're going to embed last night's video using the YouTube embed iframe. We'll make it responsive. And then we'll put the title and description on the right. So that's what we're going to do to break this up. And then this is the section right here that has the wrap. And I'm going to take this wrap out. I think it's unnecessary because I feel like this border with a little bit of padding acts as the wrap or the container for this background image. So I think we can take out this 12 column wrap and let these cards naturally go to the edges. I also think these cards we just need to improve the visual interest of these cards. So I'm going to use first letter and initial letter to do this effect. So this effect here where we make this first letter bigger. And so I have an idea of a way that we can add some visual interest to improve how these cards look. I have other ideas, but I want to do this first. I didn't change the mock-up. I didn't try to implement any of my ideas in the mock-up. I just didn't have time. And I mean, I'll be the first to admit that sometimes when I get to this stage of a build where I'm kind of like, I've deployed it and I'm okay with it, but I know that it needs a little something more, I will almost always just go right to the code and start to implement some of my ideas. And I won't really bother fleshing out my ideas in a mock-up unless it's a whole new page or I'm just really not sure about what I'm doing. So for today, at least, I don't have a mock-up. I'm just going to try to implement some of my own ideas. So these are the first two things that I want to do. I also we need to add a hover for our social media icons, because when you hover, there really should be a hover state. And then we're going to add just a tiny bit of JavaScript to put in a copyright date down in the footer. I don't have my GitHub action set up yet. I made a big deal about that 2 weeks ago, and I just haven't had time to do it yet. But so if we push to GitHub staging branch, it will automatically deploy to our staging site on Heroku. And then once I deploy to production, I've just been rsyncing from my terminal directly into my DigitalOcean environment until I have time to set up my GitHub action. So that is coming though. What can you do? You just do things, you just make a list of things to do and you work on getting them done, right? Sometimes you don't get everything done in the amount of time that you think you will be able to get them done in, right? I think what matters is that you continue to show up and you keep plugging away at it. So that's what I think. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do, and then I'll say maybe a couple things about my plan for tomorrow. My plan for tomorrow is that we are going to create another page with a contact form. We will build the contact form, or I will build the contact form myself, and then we are going to use Formspree for our action. So I'm going to sign up for Formspree. They have a free version that they say is for testing and development, and I think you get 50 monthly submissions. I mean, I don't think I've gotten 50 submissions in a decade of having a website. I also put my phone number on my website, so especially if a client is local, they usually just call me. But I get the occasional submission through web forms, but mostly people just call me. But we're gonna set up a form because I do like having a form. So we're gonna work, and then we're gonna work on this tomorrow, and then we're also going to set up. I'm going to use MAMP. Do I even have MAMP installed? No, I don't. I will install MAMP before tomorrow. We're going to set up the free version of MAMP, which is a local server environment. And I will show you how I use very basic PHP includes to do some templating for a static website. It's super easy. It's incredibly powerful. And if you understand object-oriented programming, I think you'll enjoy it. So, sometimes switching from one programming language to another is just a matter of syntax. That's kind of how I feel about PHP. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is I want to get this new section in here. So here's our to-do list, starting with there we go. So add section to the home page, add an iframe video from YouTube with, let's see here, with title and description. Restyle the key responsibilities section. Okay. So here's current position. Here's the social icons. Okay. So we want to do a section here. The Supreme Overlord is here. Hello, welcome. Happy to have you here. Yes, MAMP is like XAMPP. So there's MAMP. There's XAMPP. There we go. Which I think XAMPP is also, they also have a version for Linux. And then there's also, if you're on a Windows machine, there's also WAMP. So, and I've used WAMP. When I used, I've been a Mac user for about 10 years now. But prior to that, I started on a Windows machine, and I used WAMP for a long time before I switched to MAMP. So all are great options. So, and hello, H. Thank you for joining us. Happy to have you. So, all right. So I'm going to give this a class of, I'm just going to call it YouTube. And then this is going to have a wrap. So we'll give this a class of wrap. And then we want the video on the left, and we want the title and the description on the right. So the natural flow for the DOM would be top and bottom. So let's grab our iframe. So this is last night's video. Just going to grab this embed code, copy that. And I'm also going to put this in, actually, I'm going to put this in a figure. Is that the right way to do that? Let's see here. MDN figures. I just want to make sure that's a semantic way to do that. The figure element represents self-contained content, potentially with an optional caption, which is specified using the fig caption element. The figure, its caption, and its contents are referenced as a single unit. I'm not going to do a fig caption. Usually a figure is an image, illustration, diagram, code snippet, etc. that is referenced in the main flow of a document, but that can be moved to another part of the document or to an appendix without affecting the main flow. Okay, a caption can be associated with the figure element by inserting a fig caption inside as the first or last child. The first fig caption element found in the figure is presented as the figure's caption. Okay, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes that we can put an iframe with a video embed in a figure, that's semantic. So we'll do figure with a class of, let's call it video. And then here's our iframe. I'm also going to give this iframe a class because we will apply some styles to make the iframe responsive. Anytime you copy the embed code from YouTube, there is a fixed width and a fixed height, and it's generally not responsive. Obviously depends on how your site is coded. Our site is brand new, so there's no code implemented for this. And if you Google responsive iframes or responsive YouTube embeds, there's code out there, but I know how to do it, so I'm just going to do it. But I'm going to give this a class of embed video. So there's our video. And now I'm going to do, I guess I'm going to do an article. We'll give this a class of video content. And then I'm going to make this, I guess I'm going to make this an H2. I'll give this a class of secondary heading. See, it's been a couple of weeks, so I have to remember what all my classes were. And I'm going to give it the exact same title as the video. And then the description, I'm just going to put in paragraph tags. And I'm probably going to have to take out these emojis. So we'll clean up this description a little bit here. Let's see. Will this format? A little bit. So let's clean up these characters. I don't know if we leave these emojis in, will they show up in the browser? They do. Look at that. All right. I'm down for that. So maybe we'll add a little more markup here then. I'm just going to put everything in paragraph tags. Whoops. Okay. And some of these links. I'll grab these links. And H is asking me, am I a designer too? I pretend to be. I mean, not officially, no. I would say that I feel like I have an eye for design. I try to keep my design skills fresh, but I'm not exclusively a designer. I think I'm a front-end developer that you could trust with design if you absolutely had to. How is that for an answer? I did design this. And I'm proud of it. So and I did live stream also, just sort of going through this process. I think the point of some of this content that I'm creating around getting people to do more design work is that I think as a front-end developer, it will ultimately benefit you to feel more comfortable with design, even if you don't consider yourself a designer. Let's see here. So I think we'll do an anchor tag. And then I'm just gonna that way people can see exactly what they're clicking on. There we go. All right, and then let's go ahead and so we have our article, we have our video, and then we have our video content. So let's grab our CSS. We can go ahead and put this in main. And let's make sure, whoops. Let's do our SAS watch. So here's our responsibilities. Here are the social icons. Here's current duties. So I'm going to put this right here. So we have class of YouTube. And then we have wrap. And I don't remember if I flexboxed wrap. No, I think I was doing it individually, which is fine. So we're going to display flex flow, row, wrap, and then justify content, space between is what I like to do. And then we'll do video. First we have to do margin 0 because the browser gives figures a ton of margin by default. And then I'm going to say width. I'm just going to go ahead and say 50% for now. And then we've got video content. We can also say a width of 50%, but I'm going to give this some padding on left, right. I'm going to give this padding on the right of 2 rems, and we'll see how that looks. There we go. So this is a little, yeah, it's a little off kilter, isn't it? Okay, so we need to edit our content and make this a little more balanced. What would you think about a backend developer who's trying to transition to full stack but doesn't have an eye for design at all? I mean, I think that you, first of all, you're not alone. I know many full stack developers who do not have an eye for design. My perspective is always going to be my career has been really focused on building UIs. So that's sort of naturally my perspective. I mean, every full stack developer that I work with doesn't have an eye for design and has no desire to have an eye for design. So I will always encourage people to build that muscle, but you are absolutely not alone and you absolutely have a place. So not everybody is going to have an eye for design or is going to be a designer, but full stack developers are obviously in demand. I mean, if you can do back end and front end and deal with the many different frameworks out there and feel comfortable in that world, you will absolutely have a place and nobody will care whether or not you have an eye for design. I think what people are going to care about most, and again, this is just my experience, is that you are a good problem solver, that you don't need to be micromanaged, that you don't have to have every task explicitly explained to you, that you can take a task or an assignment that has a little bit of ambiguity and you can do what you need to do to get the task done. You know when to ask for help. You know when to ask questions. You know when you need to gather additional requirements. You know when you need to show your work to a product manager in order to proceed with whatever it is you need to do. Do you know what I mean? So I think that you transitioning to full stack, if you know what you're doing and you can handle all these frameworks, you won't have any problem at all. I would encourage you to look for positions at organizations who have a really well-established brand, because when the logo and the color palette and the fonts and all of those guidelines and rules already exist, it makes your job so much easier. So I hope that helps, and good luck. Good luck to you. We need good full stack developers out there. Okay, so yes, we clearly have a lot of content here. So I'm actually thinking that we don't need everything after this first little blurb. And we can tighten up this title as well. So, and that is just fine. So let's talk about front-end development, because I think that title is way too long. And I think this is much better. Already, this is much better. And this is a great example of adapting your content to fit a layout or a design. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So let's go, and I don't know, okay, let's get some padding in here. So let's go ahead and do some padding. What were we doing on some of our other sections? So we did 150 and then 50 there. I missed it. Here we go. We did 6 rems all the way around. And Lena's saying, I think as a full stack developer, you usually don't deal much with design. That's more expected from front-end developers, or am I wrong? I don't think you're wrong. I would just say that it depends on where you work and how big your team is. If you work at a big organization with like really well-defined roles, then that's probably super accurate. Where I work at the University of St. Thomas, we just don't have that many people. We have more work than there are developers to do. So any developer who can pitch in with like applying the design, and the less help they need, the better. So I think it just depends on where you work. And Lena's also saying, I would like to learn more about design, but I don't know where to start. Sometimes I see posts on Instagram showing examples of good and bad design. So I think, I think doing what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks is a good place to start. The more you can have the more hands-on you are with the process, the more comfortable you're going to feel with it, and the more you're going to realize what does and doesn't work. I also think that a good way to get experience is to just be a really good observer of the internet and the sites that you visit regularly. What's the saying? Well, what we always say at work is that like we'll spend a long time working on something and we'll launch it and it'll be crickets. And the first few times in your career that happens, it can be really disappointing. But what I've learned is that nobody really notices great design. Everybody notices bad design. So be an observer of the sites that you already visit and that you already use. Notice what you think does or doesn't work. I mean, do you shop online? You consume content online? You're on social media, you get your news online. Think about all the things that you do online. Have you ever thought to yourself, this really sucks. Why can't I check out right now? Or this is a terrible experience to put this thing in this cart and check out. Or all I want to do is read this article and I keep getting ads and pop-ups. So use your own experience as a user to guide you in your design journey. That's what I would advise you to do. And if you see something that you like or that you think looks interesting, take a screenshot and go build it. Figure out how to build it. A lot of that is how I started to feel comfortable with design. So I would just really, really encourage you to just do it. You just got to jump in and do it. And use your own experience as a user of the internet. And trust me, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Do exactly what I'm doing. Carve out time, get an idea, and just start implementing it. See what works. I mean, when I did this 2 weeks ago, I thought this was one of the best ideas I'd ever had. Clearly, it didn't work. So here I am 2 weeks later. We're gonna do something different here and make it work because it's not working. That's only something that you can figure out when you just sit and do it. So, Lena, you can do it. I believe in you. I really, really do. Okay, so we need a little padding. I'm gonna do 4 rems on top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. And yeah, I think we need a little more. I'm gonna do 6. Yeah, that is a lot better. I think we have way too much line height on this H2. So let's see if we can adjust that a little bit. So I set the line height on the body. I set the line height on the body to be 1.65. So I think it's okay to set it for a heading. Line height, if we just do 1, that's a little cozy. I think 1.25 is pretty good. And then let's make sure that we have some margin on the bottom of this header. So maybe 1 rem, 2. Yeah, I did kind of want this video to be a little bit bigger, but I feel like we've got room here for this text to continue wrapping. And I feel like even if front end wrapped to the second line, there would still be room here. So let's see if we can make this video a little bit bigger. And then let's try to put like some sort of treatment behind this, like this. Not exactly like this, but something similar to this. And so Lena is saying, to be honest, I've seen websites where I was often shocked by how poorly something was done. Someone actually got paid for that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Even the big ones, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're all humans. They're all human beings, just like us. I'm telling you. Some of the code that I've seen come from Google or Facebook or Instagram. I'm like, who wrote this? You work at Facebook. What's wrong with you? They're humans, just like the rest of us. So you got to just go for it. That's always going to be my answer, is you got to just go for it. Okay, so let's find our typography. So H, how are you feeling about full stack? Are those good answers? Are those bad answers? Let's see here. So I'm going to give this some margin on the bottom. Clearly I set the margin to 0, so we'll see if this has an impact on anything else. And I'm going to change the line height to, I think I said 1.25. And line height, I see people applying like a pixel or a rem value to line height, which you can do. The browser will accept that, but line height is really supposed to be a multiple of your font size. That's how I was taught. So yeah, let's refresh this and make sure. Yep, that looks pretty good. So let's make our video a little bit bigger. Let's actually see here. Yeah, see, the video isn't even filling that space. And I put my padding on the wrong side here. Let's see here. Should have put it on the other side. And so H is saying, good answers. I really like the front end part too, but sometimes it's too overwhelming because it feels like there are way too many topics to learn. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that. I've been doing this for 11 years and I think it's really overwhelming too. That's why I sort of had to make a decision to just, I made the decision to just sort of get back to basics with HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. I absolutely acknowledge that organizations are going to be using frameworks and different technologies and different ways of doing things. But how is it ever going to be possible for me to pick the correct combination of frameworks, tool sets, technologies, learn those things, and then go find the organization who exactly matches that bullet point list of skills? And then how much time, how many hundreds of hours do I put into learning those things? It's just not possible. There's too many combinations of frameworks and tools and technologies. So I made the decision for myself that I was going to stick to the basics, and that if I was in a position where I was applying for jobs, looking for a job, I would take it as it comes. I would learn what I need to learn for that job. And if I'm excluded from an opportunity because I don't have one bullet point, or I don't meet one set of criteria, or there's just one tool or one framework that I don't know how to use that they really need, well, then I guess it wasn't the right job. So, do what you can. Do what you can. I really think, though, that if you stick to the basics, you can't go wrong. So, okay. So now we want to position this iframe inside of this figure in a way that makes it responsive. So we're going to say position relative, and then our video, embed video, we're going to say position absolute, top 0, left 0, whoops, width 100%, height 100%. Let's see here. Yeah, we're a little cut off. We need to make sure that I think we should do height 0. Then we're going to do padding bottom 56.25%, which is that nice 16:9 aspect ratio. Whoops. So, and actually, since our width is 50%, we want half of that, which is, hang on here. So 56.25 divided by 2 is 28.125. 28.125. There we go. So now you can see that this video is responsive inside that container. So when we move this now, you'll see that video. Look at that, nice and responsive. Oof. So let's make this container a little bit bigger now because I think we've got some wiggle room here. So let's try maybe 65%. And then our content area could be 35%. And we have to, hang on, we have to adjust our, we just have to adjust our padding bottom. So if it's 65%, and the Supreme Overlord is, sorry about that. Gosh darn it. Discord. I don't know how to get the link. They have this option in Discord. Hang on, I'm going to grab it right now. They have an option in Discord for the link to never expire, and I clicked that option, but it doesn't seem to work, so I apologize for that. Let's see here. Okay, come on, really? Oh. Hidden use copy button. Yeah, that's what I did. Come on. See, Discord knows that I'm streaming, so it's hiding things because it knows that I'm streaming. Technology. Streamer mode enabled. Hang on. Enable streamer mode. Hang on, I'm turning that off really quick. There we go. I mean, I guess it's a good thing, right? There you go. Well, we would love to have you, Supreme Overlord. So thank you for asking and thank you for letting me know. And I'll make sure to check that. Okay. So I changed this, so I have to change my percentage. So 56.25 times 0.65, 36. So this is 36.5625. There we go. That's a little big. Let's try 56.25 times 0.6, 33.75. Whoops. And then we'll make this 30%. Oh, and hang on. So wait, I said 60, and then this would be 40%. There we go. Yeah, we still need a little something. We need to zhuzh this up a little bit, but this should play now. There we go. Plays right in the browser. So that's good. And this, I like how this wraps, so I'm good with this. Let's take out the colon. So we have a title and a description. And then let's align this on the y-axis. So we'll do align items, and we'll just say center. There we go. And then let's put in like a border similar to this behind the iframe. So we'll go ahead and do this on the video. So I'm going to do a pseudo class. We'll say before content, whoops. And our video is position relative, so we can go ahead and position absolute. And we'll probably have to adjust our z-index. So I'm going to do top negative 10 pixels, left negative 10 pixels. We want the width to be 100%, and we want the height to be 100%. So basically to match the shape of the container. And then we'll say border 2 pixels, solid, and where are my colors? So Primo Overlord is saying, you can do that off stream. Let's focus on the main task now. Don't want to cause drifts. Are you talking about me sharing the Discord link? Well, I appreciate that. I tell you what, if you leave it for me to wait until I'm off stream, I'll forget. So that's the only reason I do that. That is the only reason I do that, because I know myself and I know I will forget. Variables. So let's do mint. I kind of like that mint color. But thank you for asking, and I'm glad that you're joining. I'm glad to have you. So let's go. We can close this. So we'll do teal, and then I think I'll do another one. Yeah, I think we can do, it can be a little bit bigger. So maybe 3 pixels. And then instead of 10 pixels, let's just do a rem. So we can really see it. There we go. And then let's add another one. Let's add the gold also. So I'm going to do another pseudo class after. We'll say content. also position absolute, and I'm going to do top 1.5 rems. I'm going to do right -1 rem. This is also negative. Whoops. And we'll play with it. We'll see how it goes. And we can basically copy this. And we'll do yellow. And this one, I'm going to move it up I need to change the Z index. So we'll set the Z index here to 0. And then I'm going to set the Z index here to -1. And then I'm going to pull this up 2.5. Let's see how that looks. I actually think I'm going to pull it down. So I think we could just push it down. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to have to sit with it for a minute. I feel like there's still something missing from this section. I think also that the width of my screen is kind of throwing me off a little bit. I don't like how this section looks, so I might give this section a fixed height, or if I had additional content here, that would open the section up a little bit. So, but I'm going to move on to the key responsibilities area, because for the most part, I've achieved what I want to achieve here. And we do need to make this responsive. So we can do that next also. But that video is responsive. That's the main thing. So let's go ahead and make this responsive. So let's put, see here, we'll put it right here. Say at media, max width. I think I've been doing 960. Let's look. Yes, 960. So, so we just want to change video and video content. Video, comma, video content. We're going to change the width to 100%. And then video content, I'm going to say padding left 0. And we need to change our percentage there, and we need to give this some padding on the left and right, but also margin on the bottom. So I feel like we could probably just make sure that this has some padding there. And then the padding bottom on the video, we could go back to 56.25. Where are we here? There we go. So that gave us, I think we need a little more padding on the left and right. Yeah. So the edge of the video lines up with the border directly above it. I mean, I like that. That looks like it looks comfortable to my eye. So, and then let's give a little bit of margin underneath that video. So we'll do margin bottom. Let's try 4 rems. I think we're going to need a lot to push it down. Yeah, that looks good. Oh. No, I'm good with that for now. Yeah. I do think that I think we need to do something to this white background. Some sort of background treatment, some sort of something to just add a little bit of visual interest. It just looks a little boring and bland right now. I like how this looks. I think there's enough happening here that I don't get the same feeling from this, but I do get it a little bit from this. But I think I need to sit with a little bit. So this is also one of the maybe consequences of not fleshing your ideas out in a program like Photoshop or Affinity Photo. If you go directly to the browser and start coding, you'll do the thing that you thought of, but it may not look exactly the way you thought of it. And that's totally fine. That's how you learn. So, but this for now is what I wanted to have, and I wanted to break up these two content sections. So next, I want to pull this wrap out of this section and finish styling this. So let's go to responsibilities. We have our wrap here, which we should probably just give it a different, I think we can keep the wrap. We just don't want we might want to call it something else. Oh, it's in our toolkit. I was like, where is this? Yeah, so right here. Honestly, I think I'm just going to give it a different name. Oh, this is such a good question. Do you think it's better to work as a front-end developer on the agency side or directly for the client company? It's a two-part answer. The first part is that on the agency side, you're going to learn a lot really, really fast because agencies move at breakneck speeds. So you'll learn a lot, but it will be trial by fire. And if they even get a whiff of you not working out, they'll get rid of you and replace you because they don't have time to mess around. So it can be a cutthroat, kind of brutal environment, but I did it. I got fired from one agency job, but I also was successful in several agency jobs. But day one, you have to walk in and know exactly what you're doing. You'll learn a lot, and a lot of people thrive in that environment. The other thing you might experience in an agency is that you will do more building fresh, new, shiny things and slightly less maintenance. Not no maintenance, but slightly less maintenance. In an organization, like I work for a university, I do build my fair share of new, shiny things. I am mostly maintaining things though. I'm mostly keeping things running and adding on to what's already been built. Now, the benefit of the organization that I work for, and this could just be where I work, um, I work for a university that takes things like work life balance really, really seriously. They don't necessarily pay market value. So, if you worked at a university like I do, you wouldn't have the big 6-figure salary. You would be paid well, you would earn a good living, you would get great benefits, great health insurance, lots of time off, lots of flexibility. But you're also not making a ton of money. If you were to work in an agency environment, you would probably make a lot more money, but it would be a much more frantic pace, in my opinion. So you kind of have to decide what is going to work for you. I don't think one is better than the other. I think you just have to figure out where you fit. And then, of course, there's all these factors like your leadership team, your colleagues, the other developers that you work for. Um, you kind of have to figure out. I think you could be in either situation and be successful. It just depends on who you work with, how much you get paid, and how much you enjoy the work. So, not definitely one isn't better than the other. And I have to tell you, at this point in my career, if I were to leave St. Thomas and go look for another job, one second. Since I've been in maintenance mode for the last 7 years, I think if I were to leave St. Thomas and specifically go get another job, I think I would be interested in going back to agency life because I am starting to feel a little like, I've been working on the same code base for 7 years. I might be ready to just like build stuff and hand stuff off. I also think that with more experience, I would be maybe better equipped for that that faster paced environment. Like I just have so many more skills and I'm able to work so much more quickly that I might be a lot more successful in an agency now than I was then. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. Well, I honestly, you're not going to know, Lena, until you try. I don't think one is better than the other. I think there are also organizations that, so that's not my experience. My experience is that agencies tend to pay better. That was just my experience. Um, I think that you're not going to know until you get into it and you try. I don't know what the sort of like the climate or the environment is like where you are, where I am, where I live, especially in the Twin Cities in the Midwest. I think if you're a junior developer in the Midwest, you may not have the benefit of really getting to choose because I think it's tough to find good junior developer jobs in this area. And I think that if you lived in my city, I would tell you that you may not have the benefit of really choosing what's available and that you should take whatever is available till you have experience. If you have the benefit of having more opportunities for junior developers in your area where you're looking for a job, um, I would tell you to go to the place that is you feel like is most supportive for a junior developer. Um, how do they feel about mentoring their junior developers? I see a lot of job descriptions that are like, in the first 10 days, you will do your first pull request. In the first 30 days, you will do XYZ. In the first 6 months, you will do this. And I'm kind of like, whoa, okay. So I don't think you're going to know what really works well for you until you have that experience. And I also think that, um, even though those experiences were really tough, like walking in on day one and being expected to like know so many things and to just hit the ground running, that was tough, but I really learned so much about myself and what I was capable of. So even though those things were really hard and I struggled in some of those situations, I'm still extremely proud of myself for succeeding in those situations. And I want you to have the same experience. I want you to like sort of figure out what you're made of and what you're capable of. Those are incredibly rewarding experiences to have, to be in a tough situation and to get through it and to be successful. So don't deny yourself those types of opportunities too. I don't think junior developers make a lot of money to begin with in any situation. I think agencies pay more because they well, everything you do is billed to a client first of all. So get ready to keep track of time. And in my experience is that those environments paid a lot more than an organ, like sort of a typical organization. So, but again, I think it also just depends on where you work. So, okay. So I'm going to change the wrap for that skills and experience for responsibilities right here. So I'm just going to change the max width from 75%. I think we could just do, can we just do none? Responsibilities. Nope, that was the wrong one. Here we go. And Lena's saying, I won't be picky because there aren't many junior jobs available here right now, and they often expect 2 to 3 years of work experience. That's unfortunate that a junior developer job would expect 2 to 3 years of work experience. That is unfortunate. A true junior developer job should, in my opinion, there should be an expectation that you understand some basic core foundational skills, that I could ask you to pull in a third-party API like the weather API or something like that and build maybe a simple one-page app using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript so I can see that you understand some core foundational skills. And that above all else, I can see that you have problem solving skills, that you can work independently, and that you can take direction, but that you don't need me to spell out every single aspect of the task, and that I get a sense for when you know when to ask questions and when you know when to proceed. Those are the things that I look for in a junior developer. So I think it's unfortunate that you would need 2 to 3 years of experience to be a junior developer. So I'm sorry you're running into that. And I hope that when you are ready to start looking for a job, that you're able to get a job anywhere that is willing to hire you, because I just want you to get started and start getting experience so you can decide which environment is best for you. That's what I want you to have. I want you to have the experience so you can decide what you want to do and you don't feel like you have to take something. Okay, so see this? This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. So I think this has padding already, and that's exactly what I wanted. So let's remove these columns And I'm going to switch this to row wrap. We're going to take out the height. We're going to take out, we have a ton of media queries in here. I'm just going to take them all out, and we'll put them back in when we need them. And we're going to do I'm going to do calc 33.333% minus, I'm going to do minus 1%. Let's see here. These are items. Display flex flow, justify content. We're going to do space between. There we go. Boom. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Emilio is here. Hello, Emilio. Nice to see you. Happy to have you. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, I already like this better. And then hopefully you can see here, it's doing this automatically. Whatever the height is of the tallest container in the row, all of the containers match that height. So you can see here that container 1 and container 2 have 4 lines of text. Container 3 has 3 lines of text, but the height is the same. So that means that the align, I think it's align items is, I think the default value is stretch. I'm pretty sure the default value is stretch, and you can see that here. The first container has 2 lines of text. The second and third container have 3 lines of text, but all containers have the same height. So that's what I wanted. And then I know that my borders got a little screwed up also. So I think we want this to be, yeah, we started with yellow. So we yellow, teal, green, teal, yellow, green. I know I did this wrong, but I can't remember why. Nth of type, I think it's, isn't it 1n plus 1, 2n plus 2, 3n plus 3. Yellow, teal, green, teal, yellow, green. Why am I doing this wrong? And so Lena's saying, actually, I want to work for 1 to 2 years and then become a freelancer after some time. I just want to gain experience from the jobs. You know, that's exactly what I did. So that's exactly what I did. So if that's your plan, you could totally do it. So Lena, I would literally sit in meetings. Like I would be invited to meetings where we were presenting work to clients, and I would literally be sitting and taking notes like, okay, Angela, remember this. So when you're freelancing, you remember what to say and how to do this. So yeah, that's a great plan. I think that's a fantastic plan. And H is asking me, how did you come up with the -1%? So basically, I knew that I wanted my container to be 3 columns, so 33.333. Justify content, space between means the first item and the last item are going to be snug right up against the containers. So that means then that if we take 33.333% minus 1, the additional 1% for each of the containers would be divided evenly. So it's not it's not like a mathematical calculation. It was just a guess on my part of roughly how much space I want to be between those containers. So we can switch it. So I like this amount of space, but if I wanted more space, I would just say minus 2%. And now we have a lot more space, but I think this is too much. So I'm just sort of guessing at a value. Now you could just as easily, I could also just do, if I know that I want -1, I could just do this also. And it's the same. So, it was just a guess on my part that it would look the way I wanted it to. Let's see here. Okay, so nth of type. Hang on here. MDN nth of type. Matches elements based on their position among siblings of the same type. Do I have other siblings in here that is screwing this up? No. Oh, wait a second. 2n, maybe it's 2n plus 1, 3n plus 1. Okay. So the nth of type pseudoclass is specified with a single argument which represents the pattern. an plus b, even or odd. I can't remember how to do third. Odd paragraphs, 2n plus 1. Even paragraphs, 2n. Oh, no, what do we do? Oh, wait a second. Hang on. 1n plus 1, 1n plus 2, 1n plus 3. I bet this is it. I want it to be yellow, mint, teal, yellow, mint, teal. No, that's still wrong. Yellow, mint, teal. Even paragraphs, first paragraph. Okay, this will match the third paragraph as it will match elements which are 2n plus 1 and have a class of fancy. The second paragraph has a class of fancy but is not matched as it is not the nth of type 2n plus 1. So this will match the third. Okay. Hang on here. So this is it 1n, 2n, 1n plus, so if this is the third, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1n plus 2, no, 1n plus 1, two n plus 1, is that right? 1n plus 1n, 1n plus 1. Hang on. Nth of type I used to know how to do this. Nth of type color for first, second, third. Nth of type every first, second, third. 1n, 2n, 3n, that's what I tried. So it's 3n, 3n plus 1, 3n plus 2. Okay, so 3n, 3n plus 1, 3n plus 2. So it should be yellow, mint, teal, yellow, mint, teal. Mint, green, yellow. Hang on. Yellow, mint, teal. What you're after is the offset of the nth of type selector. To get the effect you're after, just bump the offset value by 1 for each of these 3 variations. 3n, 3n plus 1, 3n plus 2. Here's a code pen. So green, red, blue. Yeah, so green is last. Okay. So green is last. Red is first. Red is first. Blue is second. And then green is last. Okay. So this is last. So this would be teal. This would be yellow. This would be mint. Teal, yellow, mint. That's what I wanted. Okay. Next, we're going to take the first letter and enlarge it. We're going to use first letter and initial letter. So this is saying that it doesn't have I think we could also just do the first letter. CSS pseudo element applies styles to the first letter. But I do think we have to do both because initial letter sets the value, but we need the pseudo class as the selector. So that would be item. So we want first letter, and then we want initial letter. And I think we want it to take up, the value would be 2 for 2 lines tall. So we'll say 2 for 2 lines tall. And then we'll have to look at it in another browser. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted. We need a little styling, but we're getting there. So I want the color to be green. So let's make the color green, which is accessible. We can also make the font weight. We'll try 700. And then we need to give it a little bit of margin, left, right, on the right of 1 rem. Look at that. Let's try blue. And also, let's see if we could do 600. I think we called this navy. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's too bad those other colors are not accessible. I mean, is the teal accessible if it's large? Color contrast, contrast checker. Sometimes colors are accessible if if they're big enough. So let's check. So the background is white. The foreground is teal. Yeah, it really fails everything, doesn't it? Even large text. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna stick with navy. I still think it needs a little something else. I think it has a little too much margin also. Margin right. Let's just try 0.5. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So it says it's not widely supported. Let's look in Firefox. Yeah, it's not. So, and so that's fine because it's like an enhancement, right? It's a user enhancement. It means that, and I agree with, I mean, I agree. Even just looking at this, I can tell these cards still need a little something. So this is going to be a work in progress. This is going to be a work in progress. And that's completely fine. I would say that if you're building a website, if you're building a portfolio, if you're doing these types of things, these types of enhancements, just pay attention to these little alerts here. Make sure that it's not something that's really dependent on the user interface or some sort of user action. But if you're doing some experimental things, this is also the time to do it with your own portfolio and to get a sense for what does and doesn't work. So I do think that these cards still need a little something, but I'm glad we got them out of the container. I'm glad that we added a section here to break up these two sections. Let's make this responsive now, which I think we can literally just do right down here. And right inside. Yes. So we're just going to change the width to 100%. Oh, we might want to change that a little earlier. That is kind of snug. So let's do 1024, and then let's do maybe 48%, and then we can pop it down again at 768. And then we'll do this 100%. So it'll change twice. There we go. It's a little smoother transition. Yeah, those cards need a little more work. They need a little more work. That's okay. It's a work in progress. Oh, it's really wide. It's really wide. What does this look like on a normal screen? Hang on, I will switch over here. So this is just my normal Mac screen, which I think would probably be a pretty normal experience. but I still want it to look good on a larger screen. So, you know, it's going to be a work in progress, right? Switch back here. There we go. Well, I think this might be it for me today. I think this might be good for me. I have some things I want to think about. So tomorrow, so we added a section to the home page. So over here, we'll get this deployed. So this is done. This is done. This is done. So the goal for tomorrow is we need a hover state for social icons. We need footer with copyright. So a little bit of JavaScript, not a ton. We need, we'll do some PHP templating with MAMP. And then we're going to build a contact page and form with Formspree. So that's the goal for tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and commit this, and we will get it deployed up to our staging environment. Okay, so we added video section, restyled the responsibilities. All right, and we should see that deployed up to our Heroku environment. Hang on. Here we go. Oh, not quite, huh? There we go. Wasn't finished yet. It's so wide. That's why I put that container in there. So maybe, I mean, maybe we need to have a width on that container when the screen is this wide. Yeah, I have to think about that. I do like having this background image stretched to the full width. And I'm hoping this is just so, it's just not tall enough. I don't like setting a height on things if I don't have to. It just feels really aggressive to me. I like the content to control the height of the container. So maybe I need to do a little more to get some relevant content into this section to push open this container a little bit. And then this, I'm glad I broke this up, but we do need to do something to the background here. So, I mean, this is good. You have to just keep plugging away at things and fleshing out your ideas, right? This is design for the non-designer. This is me feeling like I do have an eye for design, but that I am not a designer. It has always been so much more work for me. I've always had to work harder at it. And also just accept the fact that I'm not going to have every single idea flushed out and defined prior to building. And please, please, please don't let that stop you from getting started. Just get started. Embrace the creative process. Trust your eyes, trust your instincts. Don't be afraid to implement an idea that doesn't work and go back to the drawing board. It's a really important part of the process. So, yeah, I think that's good for me for today. Thank you, everybody who joined me and chatted with me and asked me questions. And yeah, I really, really enjoy this. I love hanging out with you guys. I love doing this with you guys. So I will be back tomorrow. We're going to continue to get some more work done. And I hope you have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Mwah. Big hug and kiss from a very cold and a very snowy, icy St. Paul, Minnesota. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.